Hey, hello, hello. Welcome back to KManz in your corner, mastering your A game. Your A game is all that stuff that nobody can do for you but you. And it is the humanness that the court system leaves out and that even attorneys will leave out, that we often leave out ourselves, and that even our friends leave out. Not intentionally. Most people have good intentions, but we're going to talk about that stuff. It's all about the stuff nobody can do for us but us, which means that's where our power is. That's where we have influence, and that's where we can always make gains, because God knows there are so many things out there that constantly feel, well, they are out of our control. We're not everyone's puppeteer, much as we might like to be, but we're not. And we always it always feels good to accomplish something, and we can always do that right here at home. So today, episode 5 of KManz in Your Corner, Mastering Your A Game. Today is about how to be our best when life's at its worst. I'm attorney and coach Kimberly Mansfield, and I am in your corner. And we're going to dive in and see how we can get you a little bit of relief along the way. So, being your best at life's worst. Doesn't that feel like that's what's being asked of us kind of all the time? I mean, life on life's terms is tough enough. And then when you're going through a divorce, custody, or other things in life, because life doesn't stop, it doesn't put on its brakes, it doesn't wait while you focus all your time and energy on one thing. It keeps going, right? Not just in super duper cool ways either. Life on life's terms. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about anywhere the stakes are high, which is why all the skills and all the stuff we talk about and everything that, I've been incorporating to my life for years, and that my clients have been adopting and incorporating now for years and hundreds, are transferable skills. Because while we might be pointing our efforts at a custody matter right now, going to court, all those super stressful, crazy stuff, the skills that we need for it, the skills that we need to work on, the growth, the personal A game that we need to bring, that's transferable. We need that in life, because life's not going to stop coming at us, whether it's in this realm or any other. This just happens to be the gymnasium du jour, right? This is where we're doing our bicep curls right now. But you will have plenty of opportunities to apply this elsewhere in life. I'm sure you are already. I've been really relating to my clients lately, in that I too am grappling with being my best while life's at its worst. And it asks a lot of us. So I go into my grab bag and I just pull out things, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Some of the things in my grab bag, my toolbox, whatever you want to call it, put them in yours, build your own list, build your own toolbox, okay? But it's things that I bring out to try and be my best. Because life comes at us fast and furious. It leaves us furious oftentimes. But that's not a constructive place to be. It's not going to help us get what we ultimately want in a much bigger picture. So here are some things that at least are helping me along the way. And what I would love is for you to comment, jot down. Let me know if there's some of these that you'd like to deep dive into. I'll do a whole episode about any one of these. I'm going to rifle through some stuff in no particular order. I just kind of put it down because it's where I'm at, and it's my go-to, and it's my clients and I have both been working these as they're coming up for me during the week, that my clients are adopting them. And, we're in the trenches together. And you've got this. You've got more power and more self-regulation and more influence than you think. It's about bringing it out, and we do that in our A game. Because when the stakes are high, we can't afford to bring anything less. So, and this is going to go beyond, this is when we're in a place, I should say, that is beyond where upbeat quips or witticisms help. Sometimes there are those one-liners that are like, yep, okay, I can do this, and they get me back on track. But sometimes, at least for me anymore, right now, I'm beyond that, and I need things that are deeper and more integrated in kind of my whole self. Quips and witticisms aren't going to get me here right now. What's going on is so far and away beyond that. And I would say what's going on for my clients on the daily is so far and away beyond that, that we need deeper, more profound acting tools. So when I say we're going to be at our best when life at its worst, just know there is no judgment here. Best is going to vary on the day, depending on what's flying at you, depending on how much sleep you got, depending on what work is demanding of you, depending on all the moving parts. But it doesn't mean that we're at our worst either. If we're trying to put one foot in front of the other, in front of the other, better than we were a minute ago or an hour ago or a day ago, we're doing it. Sometimes that's our best. You know, Maya Angelou said that when you know better, do better. And that's reasonable to ask of ourselves. No judgment. Don't beat up. I mean, I take an inventory at the end of the day. I recommend that my clients do as well. They find it also supports them a lot to take an inventory at the end of the day and go, where do I feel pretty good about? Where did I bump up against something, but I'm really happy with how I handled it? Where are those points that I could have handled it better and I would like to do better tomorrow? Do not beat yourself up, okay? You've got this. And we're going to get it together. So here's some of my stuff. I am going to put this in a handout. You will be able to pop in the link at the bottom. And if you want the handout and be able to fill in some of your own, I left blanks, add to it. I would love to hear back what your go-tos are when you're being your best, despite life being at its worst. So, a question that I ask myself every single day is, what conscious, deliberate action am I taking? What efforts am I making? We need accomplishments. They feel good. They keep us moving forward. And some days I go, oh, no, I was kind of phoning it in, but I've got a half a day left, or I've got an hour left. Maybe I can do something conscious and deliberate. We feel better when we do that. So find something, no matter how small, find something conscious and deliberate, some actionable thing that you can do that puts one foot in front of the other. And another thing I pulled out, and you can refer back to last episode, episode 4, if you want to. In fact, I recommend it, is work with your anger iceberg. If you watch that episode, download the PDF, laminate it, slap it on your fridge. That's where I find it works miracles, because everybody walks by it, right? Get into the anger iceberg. Sorry. It is a swift step to elevating our own emotional intelligence, okay, our EQ as it is, and our kids. Being able to point at something, what's really lurking beneath what we're flailing at and what's flying out of us on the surface, being able to point at something that's beneath it and start understanding our own humanness, it validates those things. It also validates for our kiddos that they're not afraid of them, and they learn that we won't die from having feelings, but that we actually can make gains there because it takes that fear out of it, the fear of having emotions that make other people uncomfortable. And then so we hold them back, so then we spare someone else, but then it eats us up inside. Like, that goes for both of us. That's not just for kids. It's not just for us. It's for everybody. And that we know that as soon as there's research, that as soon as we start naming some of those underlying things that are going on. Go back, look at the anger iceberg. A lot of the ones that I'm finding right now where I want to lash out and I am furious on the surface are fear, heartbreak, helplessness. There's a lot. And I want to rage on the outside, and that is not constructive. It's not going to help me think better, think clear. But as soon as we name those, it has this magical effect of kind of lowering our heart rate, lowering our stress hormones a little bit, or bring our blood pressure down, and it allows us to see more clearly. So for us and our kids, get that anger iceberg up there and put it to good use. It also helps remove the identity from the feelings. Instead of I am angry, I am furious, I am this, I am that, I feel. My experience right now is that my soul is being crushed. My experience for my clients often say is I feel helpless. I feel like I have no control. I feel I'm powerless. I fear unknown outcomes. That is different than saying I am. Take the identity out of it and teach your kiddos to take the identity out of it. Feelings are okay. It means we're alive. It means we're human. I am is an identity, and that's a rut you don't want to ingrain. So hop back, check out the anger iceberg. In fact, you know what? We can drop it down below again. Laminate it, slap it on your fridge. My next point in my grab bag, move. Move. I don't care what you do. Dissipate, diffuse, defuse some of the energy that feels like it's suffocating you at times. That makes it feel like your stomach is churning and all that. And for me, that is, I go for walks. I take the dog out. I go walks on the hills. It is that yoga is a huge one, and that has a magical way of sort of diffusing everything that is either stuck in my gut or stuck right here or stuck in my head, and it just dilutes it in, out, all directions. But find what you do. Maybe you go for runs. Maybe you go to the driving range. Maybe you take a baseball bat out and you beat the crap out of a shrub. Move. Get some of this freed up so that it's not just sitting in one place, corroding our insides. Next, one that I've been really on top of all week, maybe a week, 2 weeks, more than that now. Inputs. What are the inputs that are going into your system? Look at them. Are you hydrating? Anybody who's listened to my stuff knows that hydration's a biggie, and it should be. Our brain needs water. Our parts need water. Everything about us needs water. When we're feeling fatigued, it is often that we need a glass of water. Fatigue is the first sign of dehydration. So hunger also does that. When often a glass of water, we're not really hungry, but it mimics as thirst. But not just that, so hydration and nutrition. Are you putting crap in the system? Sorry, I'm using that word a lot today, apparently. Label this PG. What are you putting in? What nutrition are you taking in? Are you taking in protein, or are you shoving in sugar that's like eroding your thoughts, sending you on roller coasters all day? Are you over-caffeinating? When we get in these times, we have so much adrenaline going on that really half-caffing. And if anybody watched my how to prep for walking into court or getting on camera, you know, half-calf, that's a biggie. I love it. My clients report in right before they're proceeding. They're like, I am half-calfed, I am walked, I am slept, I am fed, I am watered. It's like, okay. And of course, they're prepared and have things ready to go. Half the calf. You've got so much adrenaline going on, that balls up inside. What else is going in? Here's an easy way to find out a lot of what else is going in. Look on each of your devices for how much time you spend a day on your devices. Step 2, make a call on whether that is constructive time or not constructive time. There are some really, really big reasons that the people who invent all our magical devices that we carry around, I have them too. But the people who invent those, there's some really good reasons that they don't let their families have them. They don't let their kids have them. There are some really good reasons for that. They're doing a number on our brain and our psyche, and the blue light beating off of our brain and the constant hits of dopamine. Those are not helping. Those are not constructive in the ways that we are trying to diffuse, defuse, and disseminate energy right now, meaning stress energy. You know, it's also, there's some really good studies out. You have kiddos, so whether they're at the iPhone, cell phone point yet or not, but that kids, they're doing these huge studies that kids that's most delayed on getting the devices are the happiest. And they go through numerous metrics and numerous scales. Look up the study. It's pretty interesting. And I get it. I think they're necessary bits of technology that we need to function, but I think that we can do better at how we use them, and we can use them more constructively. Because obviously, listening to this, hopefully this is constructive. I get it. But that's a good point to start when we go, I don't have any time in my day. Look at the time that you spend on your phone or iPad or whatever. I don't know anyone that couldn't shave off some time there. None of my clients, certainly not me, my friends. Take a look. So look at your inputs. And remember, garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. Give yourself those advantages. Another in my grab bag, this kind of goes along with where I was earlier about the identity things. I ams. I am is probably the two most powerful words in our entire language, because in our mind, they're so connected to identity, and our brain is susceptible to them. We say, I am this, and our brain goes, okay, and then the circuitry and chemistry and all that behaves that way. I am so stupid. My system just doesn't take care of me. It undermines everything I think and do. It finds things that align with what I just said. Get to the I ams and decide on some aspirational I ams. I have to write them down. I have a bunch written on my window here, because sometimes I have to look at it to go, what is a better I am? And it might be, I am industrious. I am a rapid learner. I am dedicated. I am strong. Even when I don't feel like it, I am. These are the things. And then my brain goes looking for the things that align with the I ams. I ams are hugely impactful. Make a list, put it somewhere you can see it, on the fridge, on a whiteboard, on your windows like I do. Oh my gosh, I use dry erase markers, and my windows are my whiteboards. And my I ams list is one of them. Another thought that really has helped, and it doesn't change a thing, it only changes how I feel about everything right now, is sometimes I just sit and breathe and say, this is how it is right now. And I breathe. This is how it is right now. It works on a lot of levels. There's acceptance in it, but it's also, I think, importantly, that when we say this is how it is right now, we're acknowledging that everything changes. Nothing stays the same, no matter how awful things feel. As they say, this too shall pass, and that quip does not help me most of the time. But this is how it is right now does help me. My clients get a good response from it too. It just reminds them what we're going through is finite. It might be protracted, but it's finite, and that everything in life changes, even the good stuff. If there's the only guarantee in life, I don't care about the taxes and all that stuff. The only guarantee in life is that things will change. They couldn't not. Right? Another line that I ask myself is that in everything I'm doing every day, when I'm putting myself to bed at night, when I'm getting up to start the routine over in the morning, is, am I living my values? In how I'm showing up, in how I'm processing, in how I'm reacting, in, am I living my values? And one question that goes along with that is, would I be doing what I do if I could do it all over again? And it doesn't matter how worst life is on the day or the hour. I would do it over again, because we can't pluck parts that we don't want. We can pluck parts and do them differently in the future, but to be in this and to say, am I living my values? That's the whole picture, the whole enchilada, as I say. I don't get to pick out the pieces that I don't like, because I would have to give up the whole. And in the divorce custody realm, when my clients and I talk about that, what that would mean is, well, we could unravel this, let's just say for a minute, but you'd have to give up everything. Yeah, including the kids. So, are you living your values? Are you being who you want to be? Are you being who you want to model for your kids, for other people around you? Are you setting the example? Are you, that feels good for you, that we can be proud of us, that we can feel like we're one step closer to our A game? That's, are you living your values? And if you're not, then it's a great question, because you can tweak, like, oh my gosh, like, no, actually, this is important to me, but I'm not taking efforts in that direction. Maybe you go, oh my gosh, no, I mean, what I take in, my nutrition is important to me, but I've been just freewheeling and grabbing this and grabbing that and not even thinking. I need to plan ahead on this, because that will make you feel better. Okay. It's okay. Life gets crazy, and when stuff's flying at us, it's easy to sort of take our values for granted. And I think, at our core, probably those like really, really deep down rock solid ones are there. But I think it might surprise us how often some of our values were like, ooh, I'm not supporting my value in this. This is it, but I'm not living it. And to make a tweak, and that feels good to us. That's another one of those accomplishment things that feels good to us. Do that for yourself. Ask yourself. And these can be a little prickly, right? They can get us in the gut. Radical self-inquiry. Whew, it's got two sides to it, but it is the absolute catapult rocket ship forward to your A game. And then, I have some insta-gains. Insta-gains, these, I'm a circuitry and chemistry and linguistics geek. Neuroscience is my jam. And so some little things that can make really big shifts that you can just do on the fly are things like, when we lower our voice and talk so that it resonates, it calms our nervous system. Humming, those low hums, I've talked about this before, get those real, those where it massages our vagus nerve, and our vagus nerve is connected to our whole system. It brings down stress, and anytime we can bring down stress and all the hormones and electricity that go with that, the sky opens. We can think more clearly, more creatively. We can find more options, think outside the box. It's just better for our own health and well-being. And when it's better for our own health and well-being, our circuitry, chemistry, and linguistics, then it's not spilling out through our pores in ways we don't want it to onto the kids. Here's one I love, and I've used this even before prickly calls or contentious things, or before court, like when we were on a warm cuppa. A warm cup, they've done studies that our circuitry and chemistry is more malleable, more apt to remain open when we have a warm cup versus an ice cold cup in our hands. I know a lot of people get in a real habit having their ice water, which is great. I'm not saying don't have your ice water, but I think you can plot. It's called priming. I'm going to do a whole episode on priming coming up. But priming, this is a good prime. Get a hot cuppa in your hand and get a porcelain cup. I use a porcelain cup when I need it for that. Something that's warm, you can hold on to. steamy, whether it's coffee or tea or warm milk, whatever. Get a warm cuppa. Use it strategically. Apps. Grab apps, YouTube, TED Talks, podcasts. Fire hose some good voices, some constructed input in, because the voices in our head get freaking nutso, right? I have a whole quorum up there, right? It can get pretty noisy in that boardroom. And sometimes it's like, all right, guys, everybody sit down, shut up. And sometimes I don't win. They outnumber me. So sometimes I have to fire hose things in, and I will just put podcasts and YouTube's TED Talks on loop and keep voices I want going in. I need constructive voices going in. That has been magical for me. And I started doing that 2.5 weeks into COVID when the voices in my head were going directions I didn't like, and I wasn't going to have it. Fire hosing, constructive voices. Green scene. Get some green scene. Get some greening. Hopefully it's around you. Hopefully you can see some somewhere, whether you're outside or inside looking outside, or even there's really great research about the effects on circuitry chemistry and that as far as calming the nervous system, driving down heart rate, blood pressure, cortisol, stress hormones, and that by get outside and go for a walk in green if you can. Take in green, count leaves on trees, bushes, whatever. Really breathe this in. And if you can't, sit outside 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's pretty crazy little miracle right there. And if you can't get outside, then look out a window. And if you can't do that, here's the really cool research. We know that a photograph or a painting or something of nature scenes, and that to sit and just find something green, something in nature to be, submit yourself to be mesmerized for a little bit. It has great influences, and you can do it in small bits, and it's always around you, even if you can't get outside. Find a way. As much as I don't want you plugging more blue light into the system, I guess if it means stare at a, nature scene on your computer, sure. Get some nature. There's also on the apps thing, the Calm app is one. Any meditation apps, I love Insight Timer. I'm an absolute addict to Insight Timer because I can put in a search term of something I'm feeling or that's sussing around. I can find the voices you like. Sometimes it's just music, calming music. I love binaural beats, especially at night for sleeping. There's a great 1111 on YouTube. It's an 1111, has this gold cover. I love that. There's some really calming properties. Find something. Maybe it's a seascape. Maybe it's waves. These are on apps that are super easy. Or maybe it's the Breathe. Do they still call it that? I don't know if they call it that or used to. The Breathe app that has you just breathe. And I think there are wearables and apps for sure that do this, that just help you regulate your breathing for a few minutes. And breath control is the last thing I will pull out of my grab bag today. In 4, out 6. That out breath, if you can elongate that out breath, that's what's calming to the system. If we need to energize the system, it's the converse, the breathing in. If we lengthen our breathing in, that energizes the system. When we're trying to calm the system, we want to lengthen the exhale. Do that a little bit. So this is what I pulled out of my grab bag this week. It's going to be a growing list. It will go on and on forever. I keep chucking stuff in that toolbox, and you should too. So I'm going to pop a PDF up with just the list of things that I bulleted through today. And if you don't remember what they are, obviously you can come back to the video. But add things to them for you, because sometimes when we're caught up on the swirl and everything is flying at us, that's how it feels. Or it feels like we're suffocating or drowning. I know my clients can feel like this at times, and I relate. Because life is at its worst right now. And I am settling for nothing less than my best, whatever that means at any minute. And you can too. and we can together, because there's strength in numbers. And you've got this. So I'd love to hear what you think. If there's any one of these you want to deep dive on, I'm happy to do an episode or a chat or a go live or something. Let me know. Hang in there. Thanks for being here. This is KManz in your corner, mastering your A game, where we are taking over and capitalizing on all those things that nobody can do for us but us. And we are bringing our best to life's worst. So go be epic. I will see you next time around. Take good care.